What is trauma-informed care and why is it important, specifically for Black women healing from trauma? So this video is for you if you're looking to learn more about trauma-informed care, and yeah, just get a deeper understanding of different healing modalities that exist within clinical settings, social workspaces. My name is Marissa Price. I'm a Black woman social worker, healer, and freelance educator as well, helping Black women recover their self esteem, their self worth from highly traumatic, oppressive environments and get back to their authentic selves, which is really the goal, right, of my entire channel, Marissa Price Heals. So please subscribe to my channel if you're interested in this type of content. I share a bunch of information about healing, processing trauma, getting back to who you are authentically, and I have wonderful guests who also come on and share their experiences, what they have learned, how they are healing, just so that, right, together collectively, and upcoming guest, yes, Kiana, Level Up Single Mom. And please subscribe to her channel as well. But yeah, a safe space where we can process what we've been through, share resources with each other, right? Because that's so important, especially during these times as we see the chaos happening all around us, to know that there is a place for us to really understand what we've been through and also externalize, right? A big part of shame that I talk about is internalizing what has happened to you over the course of your life in these different traumatic environments, thinking that something was wrong with you the entire time, which can really lead to a downward spiral of anxiety, depression, right? Things even worse than that. And so, knowing that you have the power to remove yourself from that spiral once you notice it, and self awareness is so important in that, understanding that you're even in the spiral in the first place, and then seeking out safe spaces like this for you to be able to process what has happened to you and know that healing is possible, right? Just because you went through something traumatic does not mean that all is lost. You have the power within you to heal. And it's just a matter of awakening those things within you, which is the purpose of this channel. So, yes, welcome to everyone who's joining live. Please say hello in the chat, as always, so we can say hello to you back. If you're watching on the replay, please subscribe to my channel. Please like this video if it resonates, and please comment below your experiences with trauma informed care, if you want to share those, or the lack of trauma informed care, which we will get into. Hey, good to see you, Lagoli. Good to be in the chat. Always good to see you here. Yes. Yes, let me get some water, y'all. Okay, so trauma informed care. So this is really essential, right, as a social worker to just the practice of social work in general. And I know that some of us have had negative experiences with social workers, right? The field of social work in general. And so that has to be said. There are people, right? Social workers are human beings. And so people may bring in their own biases, their own perceptions of the world that can be harmful, right? Depending on who you come into contact with. So I do always want to say that if you have had a bad experience with a social worker, with a therapist before, trying someone else out can really be a step, right, that you can take in realizing that not everyone is the same. I always want to make it a point to say, just because I have the letters behind my name, right, I personally take that very seriously, but not everyone does. And so it's important to find the person who really resonates with you if you are looking to embark on your healing journey in 2025. And I do have, if you're looking to book a breakthrough session, because I am offering 4-week and 8-week coaching, healing coaching, as a master level social work. And the link is scrolling here on the screen, and I'll also put it here in the chat. So if you would like to work with me, I would love to work with you as well. And these are specifically for Black women and femmes, really tied into the intersectional oppression that we face, right, day to day, as I have mentioned before, in these work environments, in environments, period, right? The intersections of our identities and how that informs the oppression that we experience, which then impacts our mental health, right? Which is very real. So yes, I would love to work with you, and I am offering that. Do want to mention that? Okay. So yes, trauma-informed care. What is it? So it's an approach to healthcare, social services, and other human service settings that recognizes prevalence and impact of trauma and seeks to create safe and supportive environments for healing. I think I'm back. Okay, I think I'm back, but yes. So this is really important, right? Versus how we may normally be treated in environments that are not trauma informed, just looking at a person from the surface level, right? I've talked about on my channel before, like Black girl depression. Sometimes we see people presenting with symptoms that we wouldn't normally say, oh, this person may be experiencing depression. And so I need to regard them in a certain way. Okay, thank you. Thank you for that. Yes. The Wi-Fi always tries to take me out. Yes, I appreciate that. Right? So it's important to not just take someone's surface level of what they're presenting with and to probe a little bit deeper, right? What may they be experiencing in their life, right? Their life, the environment that they're in, the people that they're around, and how that may be impacting them showing up in a certain way. Trauma informed, really, like, if you want to look at it like an iceberg, right? So you don't just take like the surface level of the iceberg, you like probe deeper below the surface. What may be happening with someone that is causing them to show up in a certain way? And how can you provide empathy, care, softness, something I advocate for on my channel, right? Softness, gentleness, versus immediately coming at someone based on the way that they're presenting at a surface level. You don't know what they've been experiencing, right? Throughout the day, throughout their life, often we know that many traumatic experiences can pile up and really impact how we show up in the world. So trauma-informed care really takes that approach, right? Probing deeper below the surface. What may someone have experienced throughout their entire life often that is now leading them to present in this way, right? Yeah, that's so true. Hey, Nia, yes, you are not trauma-informed if you're not culturally competent. That's very true. It's definitely an umbrella term. Yes. Yeah. Ooh, and that's something I'm going to get into too. Yes. Culturally, like you said, culturally competent, culturally relevant, culturally informed. If you are out here just operating like everyone is the same without understanding differences, nuances in history, culture, and how that's impacting how someone is showing up, you are doing them a huge disservice. And just want to say that that is highly prevalent in the social work field. I've seen it myself up close. Yes. Yeah. Mm-hmm. So yes, this is important, right? Trauma-informed care given, right? Black women, we're navigating healing from personal, racial, generational trauma, and add on to that the intersections of our identities, right? The many identities that we have can inform how traumatized we have been in environment after environment after environment. And again, that piles up and it impacts how we're able to show up, right? We may not even be able to show up like authentically as we want to inside because that trauma is creating that layer, right? That coat. It's almost like you take on layers, right? Coats to be able to navigate really harsh conditions throughout life. And so it's very important to have that approach, right? Especially for helping professionals, to look at someone beneath the surface, beneath what they're presenting with, and seeing, wow, this person has experienced so many traumatic events. No wonder they're showing up like this, right? And how can you be empathetic towards that instead of immediately going to diagnosing often, right? That's really important. I was saying true to your previous comment. Okay, got you. Yeah, I appreciate that. So yes, trauma-informed care is an approach that prioritizes safety, trust, and empowerment. So it differs from traditional care in the sense that it avoids re-traumatization, which is huge. You don't know what, right, you're going to say that may trigger someone's past wounds. So it's taking extra care when you're speaking to someone, when you're interacting with someone. Because again, realizing that people have a lot of experiences that they're carrying with them throughout their life. And it's not just you, right? It's not just this one-on-one interaction. It is someone's entire past that they may be bringing into what, like the interaction that you're having at the present moment. So it's avoiding potentially re-traumatizing someone, and having a level of sensitivity and empathy when you're talking with someone, when you're speaking, interacting with someone. It's so important. Also, centering the client's lived experience is so important. What have they been through, right? What environments have they been in? Who have they been around? Have they experienced bullying, right? Discrimination, all these things that may show up in a care setting. It's important. So yes, y'all, I love to check in, see how y'all are doing. There's a lot going on. There's a lot going on. Yeah. But this is important, right? Trauma-informed care, because therapy, coaching, community service settings, these are intimate settings often. You're often in one-on-one settings with clients, with community members. And if you don't have an understanding of the deeper trauma that someone has experienced, or even like a sensitivity to that, you may be re-traumatizing them and not even know it. Which we see often in social workspaces, right? Coming in thinking that you know everything about someone's background, that you're the expert because of what you studied, which is why lived experience is so important, right? If you haven't lived this person's experience, you have no idea. Your academic knowledge is like way down here compared to their lived experience. Oh, thank you for this. Yes, I'm finding joy where I can. I love that. And that's so important. Hold on to your joy. Yes. Ooh, that is important. Yeah. Especially when it comes to healing, right? And I have an idea for like a future video on this, but healing does not have to be hard in the way that it's presented to us often. Sometimes it can be, because you're probing these deeper levels of your life experiences. That can be a difficult thing to do. But can you invite in joy in the process? Right? Picking back up things that you used to like to do, things that bring you joy, as a way to heal. That's also a way, yeah, a really great way to think about it. Nia says we need better coaching for helping professionals. I understand there are protocols to follow, but there has to be more done. I agree, to center the client's lived experiences. Yeah, ooh, that's so important. There are so many protocols, but there has to be more done. I agree. Yeah, that's a huge issue. Again, people thinking that they know, right? That they can immediately see someone, diagnose them, and that's it, right? According to a manual. Again, as if we're robots living in this society. That's not how human beings operate, right? We're coming in again with our lived experiences, with our different interactions that we've had, maybe during the day, that is now impacting how we're showing up in this setting. And so it's important to kind of zoom out from the protocols, from the manuals that treat us as if you can diagnose someone and it's just that quick. There's a lot of deeper layers and levels to us as human beings, especially as Black women, again, given the intersectional oppression that we encounter day after day after day. How is this impacting us? That's not in the manual. It's something I talk about in my video, Black Girl Depression, which I will link after this video in the description. Right? These things are not in the manual. The diagnostic and statistical manual that is used to diagnose mental health disorders, where is intersectional oppression anywhere in that manual? It's not there. And so if you're using that to just blanket, right, diagnose someone, you're missing out on the experiences that they have had in systems that have literally been extracting their power over decades. Yeah. Yeah, it's true. It's true. Yeah. Yeah. Yes, human-centered approach. Absolutely. That's so important. Hey, Ayabo, good to see you. Greetings from the resident baby boomer. Great topic. I work with incarcerated. Oh, wow. Youth for 15 years. This area needs a lot of work in order to meet the needs. Yes. Wow. Thank you for sharing that. Yeah. Agreed. Would love to hear your experiences too. Yeah. Nia said, do not pathologize. Yes. Try to understand who is in front of you. Ask them many ways that they identify. Start from there. Let the client direct sessions. Yes. And this is decolonial healing, right? Something that I incorporate as a healer, a master level social worker, right? Trained formally, but a healer. That's really how I identify. But starting from, like you said, starting from there, knowing that you hold the answers inside, you hold the keys to heal yourself. And it's really the healer, the coach, the therapist role to awaken that within you or remind you that it's already there versus coming to you with this is what you need to do, right? Very like how we see the traditional student educator role in Western societies is very hierarchical. And so how can you eliminate that and really remind people, no, you have that within you already. I'm just here to remind you, right? To reflect that back to you, that you've actually been doing this throughout your life. And it's just reawakening those parts that already exist. Yes. Okay. So I do have my banners. Gotta get my banners up. So again, trauma informed asks what happened to you versus what's wrong with you. This is so important, right? What happened to you versus what's wrong with you. What happened to you is incorporating, again, systems of oppression, different relationships that you may have been in, different environments that you may have been in. How did these impact you over time? And how are they impacting how you're showing up in the present moment? Taking a holistic approach versus what's wrong with you, blaming the person for what they're experiencing, right? Victim blaming. What's wrong with you? Even the way that you say those, right? It kind of, it's a different tone, right? What happened to you? It's a softer, more gentle tone when you're approaching someone versus what's wrong with you, right? A lot of people are not going to be receptive, rightfully so, if you come at them with what's wrong with you. And even healing professionals, I have seen like that be the case. Taking a very antagonistic tone, even towards your clients that you are supposed to be helping. Yes. Hey, Marissa. Yes, love the idea of reawakening the parts that already exist. Thank you for that. Good to see you. Yes, reawakening the parts that already exist. That's it. That's how I view healing. Truly, yeah. Because we already have the answers inside of us. And over time, and I think it was Rashidat, your dream strategist on YouTube, who shared this with me. But over time, we like take on layers, right, of things to protect us in these environments. And part of healing is literally getting back to who you were before all of these things. It's reclamation. Mm-hmm. Hey, Kyoka. Good to see you here as always. Please subscribe. The Awkward Black Nomad. Yes. Mia says, I'm not sure if this was said before, but this came to mind. I use language as a tool for healing. Don't pathologize, humanize others. I love that. That's a really great quote. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Don't pathologize, humanize others. That's powerful. Mm-hmm. Yeah, because when we pathologize, we're taking away people's humanity, right? It's dehumanizing. When you're immediately coming to them, okay, which one of your traumas can I like check off this list? It's impersonal. It can be rude sometimes. I know that I have had experiences like that in certain settings before. It's not gentle. It's not soft. It's not compassionate. right? And I do want to say for a lot of helping professionals, right, a lot of people don't have the time to sit with people as they should or as they would want to because of the demands of these systems that they're working in. This is a case for therapists, social workers, like all across the board. Mm-hmm. Nia said, I love you. Have reframing questions as a way to humanize others or open the space for productive healing. Yes. Yeah. Absolutely. I framed it this way because humanize others is repetitive to show how this should be a given. Yeah. Yeah. It should be a given. It really should. Yeah. Kyoka says, me in my regular life, I've had to check myself. Why am I not responding with compassion? Am I triggered by their experiences? And how can I be supportive to them without centering myself? Bars. Yes. Why am I not responding with compassion? Am I triggered by their experiences? Woo. Those are really important. And self-awareness is huge. Noticing when you are being triggered, right, by other people as helping professionals, but also just as people in general. Is this person sharing this with me triggering my own experiences? And so I'm responding from a place of being triggered versus being compassionate, being empathetic with what they're sharing with me. That's huge. Yeah. That is huge. And that can lead to like deeper understanding of self. Mm-hmm. Thank you for sharing that. Okay. So there are 6 core principles of trauma-informed care. First being safety. So creating environments where we feel safe emotionally, physically, and psychologically is so important. Again, especially given with what we experience day in, day out as Black women in this society, in this world. Creating safety, right? What you share here is not leaving the space. There is no judgment, right? You're free to share however you feel. That's important. Yeah. I don't know what it is about going live, y'all, but who else? I feel like I drink water all the time. Yeah. And I do want to share, like, if you are an introvert like me, if you are someone who it's kind of a stretch, it's kind of a growth exercise every time I come live. And I've heard like feedback saying people can't tell that I'm nervous. I'm nervous every single time that I go live. So if you have a dream to share your area of expertise, just as I'm doing today on YouTube, going live, right? Please do it. And I promise you that over time, it gets easier. It never feels completely comfortable, if I have to be honest, but it does get easier. It does. Yeah, so please start your YouTube channel, Instagram Live, share your knowledge with people because we need to hear it. That's how we learn. Ah! Spitting so much truth requires hydration. Oh my gosh. Marissa, that is, yes. Wow, yeah, yeah. I applaud you for doing even when it's uncomfortable. You're so appreciated. I appreciate you. Thank you. Thank you. Yeah. Yes. So if you have a dream to share knowledge, if you're an introvert, if you're more comfortable being behind the scenes, try it out. Because people need to hear what you have to say. Okay. Trust and transparency. So building trust by being open, consistent, and honoring our lived experiences. Again, Knowing that when people come in, they have all of these things that they've experienced throughout their life. Building that sense of trust, right? What you share here, again, will not be shared with other people. And also like inviting in your own lived experiences when appropriate, right? I know that this has been helpful for me in therapeutic settings. When a therapist has been like, I've actually experienced this too. It kind of breaks that wall of clinician or healer, coach, and client, and really humanizes the entire situation. Yeah. Lydia, hey, good to see you. Thank you. I appreciate that. And thank you for this. Thank you. Yeah. Nia says, I have decided I am an ambivert, but some think I'm an extrovert, but I feel more connected to the introvert identity because I recharge when in solitude, but people can bring out spurts of energy. I feel this. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah. Being around certain people, it's like, oh, I feel energized again. Yeah. That's true. Thank you. So, yes, trust and transparency, right? Um, Demonstrating to people that you can be transparent with your own experiences, something I've demonstrated on my platform, right? Telling people that no, just because I have the letters, just because I have a master's degree, doesn't mean that I was ever immune from being traumatized in these environments, in these work environments, right? And there's something to be said about like the healing power of transparency. It allows other people to share and feel safe enough to share, right? If you went through this, I went through this too. And it's kind of like a ripple effect when we see other people doing that as well. Yeah. Peer support, right? So the importance of community, sisterhood, and shared healing experiences is very important. I know this has been like key to healing. Being around other Black women sharing their stories, YouTube has just been life changing for so many of us. Black women sharing their stories, right? The power of storytelling, of sharing your authentic lived experience on a social platform awakens a new level of bravery, I have found. And it builds community because you're able to see that you're not alone, right? Having support from peer networks to reflect back to you. No, right? It's not you, it's the environment. There's nothing wrong with you. And that can be so incredibly healing to a lot of parts of ourselves to just see that reflected back through peer support. Collaboration, principle 4, and mutuality. So healing should be a partnership, not a power dynamic. Something I said before, like I did a video on decolonial healing, which I just mentioned, but eliminating the hierarchy within healing, right? The traditional Western model of student, educator, right? Employee, boss, all of these really rigid power dynamics that we see. How can that be, right, getting in the way of true healing? Because you're so focused on maintaining the hierarchy. And a lot of this stems from people's insecurities. But if you're so focused on that, you're missing like the true connection that you can have with someone. As a healer, as someone who has sought healing resources and support. Right? So it should be a partnership. And that's how I regard coaching, because I'm also learning from the person I am supporting with my skill set. It's knowing that you do not have the answers to everything. Again, you cannot know someone's lived experience better than they can. You are the expert in your own lived experience. So if you have someone like a therapist, a healer, a coach that is trying to make it seem that they are the expert over your life, that may be a chance to pivot right from that relationship. Because no one is an expert over your life, right? They can share with you their expertise, their skill set, their training, healing modalities, but when they try to step over the bounds of feeling like they're the expert, right, in your life, in your lived experience, that's when it may be appropriate to seek out a different therapeutic relationship, healing relationship. Yeah. He says what we often deal with out west is extremes, a need to categorize. Yes. So when we don't meet that expectation, we tend to get the least support and our reality is denied. Yeah. That's deep. A need to categorize. Ooh. Yes. To place people, things, situations, right, in artificial boxes constantly. Categorize, like you said. Yeah. Right. And as human beings, we can't fit into those boxes. We're just too complex. We're too complicated to be placed in these categories. And so that's where a lot of tension occurs because it doesn't feel right. And I know therapists have talked about this before, right? Diagnosing people, which can be helpful, right? To create a healing plan, a strategy going forward, absolutely, to know what's happening to you. But when we lean too heavily into these tools, right, these manuals, we tend to overlook people's humanity at the same time. So it's kind of a balance between the two. Lydia says, I love that phrasing. Pivot from that relationship. I'll be using that in all settings. Free yourself. I love it. Pivot from that relationship. Yes. Mm-hmm. People are people, not items. Absolutely. Absolutely. Right? And we can't be easily explained or understood all the time. Just by virtue of being human beings. That's so important. Yeah. Principle 5, empowerment, voice, and choice of trauma-informed care. Right? So encouraging self-determination and reclaiming power over our own healing. This is so important, right? So the client has the ability to implement the strategies that you give to them. Again, coming from your background, from your training, being formally trained, educated as a social worker, I have this toolbox of things that I can provide people with, but ultimately it's up to the client. Does this feel good to you? Is this aligned with your journey, right? Your healing journey, and letting them know that that decision is yours to implement, right? The tools that I provide you with. And reclaiming power over our own healing. That's so important. Realizing again that you have everything within you to heal. A lot of us are taught to seek externally, which can be a catalyst to deeper healing, but ultimately, if you want it to be sustainable, it has to come from within. Once you have the tools, once you have the knowledge, knowing that you're equipped, you have been equipped. The body has so many like incredible ways of self-healing, and that extends to mental health as well. Right? So once you are in a therapeutic setting and you're able to get these tools, resources, how can you use those to apply them, right? With the knowledge that you already have about yourself. And it's kind of like, it's a perfect balance in that sense, realizing that you have what it takes within you, and then seeking out those additional healing tools, modalities can really be the second part of that healing journey. He says, I love that you refer to it as a healing plan. Yes, healing is not linear, so it should be understood that the plan can be subject to change, especially when you gain more insight. Absolutely. Yes, healing is not linear. And it's a journey. It's a plan, like you said. Yeah. Mm-hmm. All of that. And it's not like something that can be like a stair step, right? Because it's a continuous journey of evolution, of relearning, of understanding what you've been through that may be triggering you, And life will continue to provide you with opportunities to probe deeper. So it's never this point that you can ever reach that you're healed. Hmm. Absolutely. Thank you for that comment. And last principle, cultural humility and historical awareness, as was mentioned previously. So, recognizing the impact of systemic oppression, generational trauma, and the unique struggles that Black women encounter in the world, given misogynoir, right? Misogyny specifically directed, aimed at Black women, intersectional oppression. It's having an understanding of these things. That people are not just operating in the present day, in the present moment, that there is an entire history of the reasons why people may be showing up the way that they're showing up, right? Especially in the US context, the history of enslavement cannot be overlooked. For generations, we have not had spaces, we have not been even viewed as human. So, starting there, but we haven't even had spaces to process what's happening to us mentally, spiritually. And how is that now impacting us, right? A lot of us, as we're showing up in these spaces with that deeper trauma, the field of epigenetics, right? You carry trauma with you generation to generation. Things that previous generations have experienced is literally in your DNA. And so we're also healing, right? Generations past, which can be powerful. But it's having that understanding that someone is not just present day person. They're tied to an entire legacy of people who have come before them, of family systems, of generational patterns that they may be the first ones to start changing, breaking. A lot of us are cycle breakers, which is deep, heavy work to understand, right, that you have been tasked with potentially breaking a generational cycle that has been occurring for centuries within your family line. Yeah. So that cannot be overlooked, right? In trauma informed care, the principle, number 6 of that, right? Cultural humility and historical awareness, understanding that you cannot understand. I think this ties into someone's lived experiences, someone's family history, someone's culture better than they can, which really should be taught more widely in helping spaces, right? Social work settings. You're not the expert in someone else's culture, right? No matter how many books you read, right? They are ultimately the expert in their lived experience, and treating them accordingly and being open to receiving feedback, right? Being humble enough. And that's where the hierarchy comes in again, right? Releasing that idea that you are above them and talking down to them and viewing, right, everyone on the same level. That is decolonial healing. Not thinking that you're all knowledgeable, no matter how many degrees, right? How many, again, books you've read, meeting someone where they are and actively listening to what their experience has been so that you can help them ultimately heal. Continuous journey of the re-evolution, relearning. Yes, we are always in a state of healing. Love your remarks. You're so very welcome. Yeah, thank you for that. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Epigenetics, yes. It is deep, heavy work to heal my bloodline. It is. That gives me an idea for another topic for video. Mm-hmm. Healing generational trauma. Ooh, that could be a whole series. It's true. And these things cannot be overlooked. They shouldn't be. They shouldn't be overlooked when we're thinking about the importance of trauma informed care. right? How many of us descend from people whose freedom was literally like physically restricted? And as healers, we're helping people seek freedom, right? Get free. That history and legacy cannot be overlooked because we're often the first ones to have this opportunity in centuries to even speak openly about mental health issues. It's true. Okay. Yeah. So as we're winding down, trauma informed care is crucial for Black women, specifically. The impact of racism, workplace trauma, and medical neglect, huge, yes, can impact our healing journeys. Right? Traditional healthcare mental health spaces tend to overlook or dismiss Black women's pain and struggles. So it's important to seek out practitioners, again, therapists, healers who truly honor our experiences, and even asking them questions before you enter into a relationship, a therapeutic relationship, right? What is your approach? Do you use trauma informed care? That can be an important question to ask. And then if things start feeling not great, something I've experienced before, know that you have the power to pivot to a different therapist, healer, coach. Yeah. So, yes. Again, if you would like to book a one on one breakthrough session with me here, leading into a 4-week or 8-week coaching program that I'm now offering, um, focused on healing and liberation for Black women and femmes, please book a session with me here. Self promotion is not my forte, y'all, but here we are. I'm gonna link it here. And again, as a coach, right, learning from the people I have the privilege of coaching. So I'm in my 30-day freelancing challenge that is still going on at the moment. And some of the challenge tasks are talking about your business, putting yourself out there, promoting your services. And I am still learning how to do this. A quote I have in my book, Cocoon: I can teach while I'm still learning. So I'm very much still learning the ins and outs of how to promote as a healer, a coach. Oh, thank you, Lydia. I appreciate you. Girl, promote yourself. Your expertise is valuable. I appreciate you so much. Thank you. And it's hard. It can be hard, right? To talk about what you're doing, to share your offerings. It can be hard. But again, here we are. We can do hard things. As an affirmation, we can do hard things, right? As I am demonstrating through this. But yes, I would love to help you on your healing journey. I think coaching over the past, I've been doing this about almost a year now. I think so. So as my freelancer journey, right, I started off as a virtual assistant with a whole master's degree in social work, not realizing that I could just take my skill set as a social worker and be a freelancer. So over the past year, building my client base as a social worker, leaning into coaching, healing, all these things has been a journey of reclamation for me, and realizing that, yeah, this can be right in my skill set. I don't have to do anything above and beyond, and I can lean into my gifts. So, yes. Thoughts on reframing certain terms like compassionate communication versus nonviolent communication. Also, in general, I cannot fit. Okay. Yeah, compassionate communication. I think that's really powerful versus nonviolent. Yeah. Mm-hmm. I'm just thinking through some of my experiences in social work settings, because one person's, what's coming up is just like one person's violence is not another person's violence, if that makes sense. There can be biases, there can be Discriminatory thoughts beneath the surface that may, like when someone's speaking or sharing something with you, that you can ultimately or like immediately label them as violent, which I have seen before. Versus again, understanding where they're coming from, the environment, the harshness, often the trauma that they're experiencing in their environment, how that may be presenting when they're interacting with you, versus just writing them off, right? Labeling them. Again, we see the labels: angry, bitter, right? Well, what did someone experience that may be leading them to show up this way? Versus centering yourself in the equation. Yeah, and so I think it's really important, yeah, to rephrase that. Yeah, compassionate communication. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Oh, thank you. Yes, I love that you took your skills as a social worker to become a freelancer. I have dreams of being a digital nomad. Well, go for it. We're cheering for you. Yes. Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I think that's why freelancing is so powerful, to be able to take your skill set and transition to assisting people, right? Your ideal clients, again, sharing my background, my expertise, my academic knowledge, my self taught, right? Because a lot of this is just me reading on my own. Academic institutions have a lot of limitations when it comes to understanding healing. That's putting it mildly. Because again, it's very textbook, it's very follow this procedure, right? We don't really operate in the world like that. And so taking the initiative to understand someone's history, someone's culture, the world, how the world came to look like it does now, right? Colonization, enslavement. These are like really essential to me as someone who works with clients healing, providing my skill set as a healer, because again, the deeper layers that people are experiencing throughout history should not be ignored. Yeah, understanding should be the goal, not being right. Mm-hmm. Yep. You're welcome. Yes. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Understanding, not winning. Absolutely. So, yes, y'all. Again, if you are interested in learning more about trauma informed care, please watch the replay. If you're watching the replay, please comment below, subscribe to my channel for future content like this. My name is Marissa Price. I'm a Black woman social worker, healer, freelance educator, and this is a safe space for Black women to share our experiences, our resources, our knowledge with each other, to be able to collectively heal and process trauma that may be, as we shared during this video, right, generational. And this is the safe space for us to be able to do that. So I appreciate y'all being here. Thank you for watching, as always. And yes, until next time, I think it will be Wednesday. Next time I'll be live. But yes, I appreciate y'all. And I'll see you then. Bye. Thank you.